You have been warned, my friends. Do not underestimate Laura Loomer, because when you get Loomered, you'll know it. White House fires 3 National Security Council staffers after president meets with far-right activist Laura Loomer. And we have another story where 2 prosecutors were terminated after a meeting with Laura Loomer, who did research and surfaced some of this prosecutor's previous statements, apparently supporting impeachment. Listen, I'm going to tell you all now. Laura Loomer is, how do I describe this? Like, I don't necessarily want to say the tip of the spear. That implies a much larger movement. I would say she's more like a throwing star, sharp, precise, but independent, right? So the tip of the spear usually would represent, like in Donald Trump's administration, he's got Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. Laura Loomer is outside of this sphere, but still working towards these ends with precision and, oh boy, effectiveness. Take a look at this story from CNN. White House fires 3 NSC staffers. They report the White House has fired at least 3 National Security Council staffers. The firings came after Laura Loomer. And look what they have to do, the far-right activists who once claimed 9/11 was an inside job, urged President Donald Trump during a Wednesday meeting to get rid of several members of his National Security Council staff, including his principal deputy national security advisor, claiming that they are disloyal. One of the sources said the firings were a direct result of the meeting with Loomer. Amazing. You are not going to escape this, right? The people that went after Trump and dragged him down and chained his feet to cinder blocks in his first term, you will be found and held to account. What I see in this story is it's a lot of people who have done bad jobs who should be fired. Or in this other story, people who are dishonorable grifters who are trying to just weasel their way in. And Loomer found them. It was not immediately apparent on Thursday whether Principal Deputy National Security Advisor Alex Wong was among those who had been dismissed. One of the sources speculated that National Security Advisor Michael Waltz may have been reluctant to fire him because he has been embroiled in the controversy surrounding the leak of controversial signal messages. I'm just going to say this. Here's how I describe it. There are numerous instances over the past 15 or 20 years where journalists have been granted access to military intel and operations, sometimes inadvertently, and compromised the security in rather extreme ways. In Signalgate, the launch times could be bad. Journalists got access. The analogy that I give is, for one, security wasn't compromised. The journalist is not a national security threat, unless we're supposed to assume he is. The argument is that it could have been bad. Okay. Could have been would then require us to say, don't do it again. So we'll look at it this way. A guy's driving his car and his lid pops off his coffee, spills in his lap. He swerves, bang, right into an old lady. Does that man get arrested? He does. Does he go to jail? Yeah. Does he get convicted and go to prison beyond this? Likely, but not still 100%. Still not 100%. But yeah, I mean, look, you're driving, you spill, you swerve, you hit somebody. It's your fault. Don't drink coffee while you're driving, right? There's going to be some responsibility there. I'm not saying he goes for life. Now let's try this. A guy's driving his car. The lid pops up off his coffee. He spills it in his lap, swerves. There's nobody in the road. He corrects himself, pulls over. Does he go to jail? No. Does he get a ticket? Probably not. It may be, but probably not. Does he get pulled over? He might, but the cop, probably not, to be completely honest. A car swerves in the road. Cop might pull him over if he sees him and he says, "Hey, buddy, you were swerving." He goes, "I spilled my coffee. I'm sorry." And the cop's going to chuckle and say, "All right, get cleaned up. Watch the road, man. Don't do it again." You see, the point I'm bringing up is with Signalgate, it's a nonsense story. Nothing happened, and they're acting like an old woman got run over by a bus. She did not. It didn't happen. Nothing bad happened. So in this instance, we pat through for the car and say, "Hey, come on, watch it there, buddy. Don't do it again." Unless you really are concerned about Goldberg. They're going to say the 3 officials include Brian Walsh, a director of intelligence and former staffer, and now Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The 3 officials include a former top staffer of Rubio on the Senate Intelligence Committee, Thomas Boudry, a senior director of legislative affairs who previously served as Waltz's legislative director in Congress, and David Feith, a senior director overseeing technology and national security, who served in the State Department during Trump's first administration. NSC doesn't comment on personnel matters, spokesman Brian Hughes said in a statement. Well, my friends, There's more. White House firing of career prosecutor pulls Justice Department under ever closer control. I saw this because they don't use the headline. It's by Ryan Riley, by the way. I think, wasn't he the guy who thought that earplugs were rubber bullets? Yikes. The White House's firing of a career federal prosecutor last week was one of in a series of Trump administration moves that have undermined the post-Watergate separation between the White House and the DOJ. Except the DOJ serves underneath the president, so what are you even talking about? The office handles roughly 4,000 political appointees within the executive branch, but isn't involved in hiring career employees. Presidents appoint the 93 as attorneys that serve as top federal prosecutors in jurisdictions around the country, but not the thousands of career prosecutors known as assistant U.S. attorneys. A former longtime veteran of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California told NBC News that Schleifer was well respected by those in supervisory positions, calling him an excellent prosecutor, very hardworking, very smart, who was aggressive but also adhered closely to ethical standards. This whole thing is bizarre. The firing of Schleifer came roughly an hour after right-wing influencer Laura Loomer resurfaced comments that Schleifer had made about Trump during an unsuccessful run for Congress in New York. Quote, fire him. He supported the impeachment of President Trump and said he wanted to repeal Trump's tax plan. We need to purge the U.S. Attorney's Office of all leftist Trump haters. Yep. You know, I just don't care anymore. I was having a conversation with Michael Malice. And I was referring to the ideas, the latest philosophies as post-liberal. Now, he says, yeah, but post-liberal people usually associate with fascism, right? And I think this is all in the Green Room show, which is available on rumble.com/TimcastRL. But I was basically saying the issue I take is that the left will use whatever power they can, whatever they can to win. And the right keeps trying to adhere to this classically liberal system, the constitutional republic, under some false pretense of a moralistic society, which doesn't seem to exist. And yeah, I'm paraphrasing, but Michael basically said, oh, you understand, that's where I'm coming from now. And he puts that in the anarchist camp. So I used to describe myself, and to a certain extent still do, but I don't typically say it. But if you look at my older YouTube stuff, I would say I'm a traditional liberal. I'm a moderate liberal. Philosophically, I'm an anarchist. And in that, I recognize that power is derived basically from those who are willing to use it. That's it. Can you win? And if you can, you do. And the structure of society is that the reason I say philosophically anarchist, it is not to say that I believe there is a system of governance where you're going to have anarchism. That doesn't make sense. My point was there is going to be a dominant power structure that will exert its authorities and powers as it sees fit. Now, for the most part, I said that puts me in, as I operate within the society, within the confines that generate wealth and prosperity, a classical liberal position. Well, more traditional liberal, meaning I lean left on the political compass, not so much right like a classical liberal would, which classical liberal is more libertarian. Ultimately, what I see here is this. Why should Trump fire these people? Why is Loomer right to investigate these people? And I hope she goes and checks literally everybody, literally every single person. We want success as to our moral traditions and the agenda that we voted for. It must be accomplished. And that goal is a better economy, strengthening the working class, better foreign policy, stronger borders. You get it. You get it. That's only going to happen if the people in Trump's sphere, and this is a lot of people, thousands, tens of thousands, are aligned. They are either loyal to the constitutional republic, meaning they know Trump is the president and they will carry out the wishes and serve at his pleasure, or they're fired. If we're going to allow people to operate in the government who are secretly going to undermine the president, they're undermining me and you and everyone who voted for Trump. And to be fair, undermining even the people who didn't, because we're all supposed to be in agreement, right? This is the election. Trump is the president. His agenda be carried out. If there are holdovers and staffers and career prosecutors that knowingly hate and oppose Donald Trump, fire them. They have no right to these jobs. And Donald Trump need only say, your position has become political based on your own statements, and we do not believe you will faithfully carry out your duties. How do we effectively get an administration that is aligned? Well, it's tough. Trump's got his internal resources. Good. We can see there were some errors there. He's got some external resources. I hope it is true that Laura Loomer surfaces these comments, exposes these people who are seeking to undermine or have in the past Donald Trump and the duly elected government with a popular mandate, so that Trump has more than just his internal resources to figure out if the employees are going to be doing a good job in serving this country. The left will say it's fascism. Trump is firing people and he's forcing people to be loyal. And it's, the fascism argument's nonsense. But yeah, if I run a company and someone here is disloyal and hurting the company, they're fired. We have chosen Donald Trump to lead this nation right now. As much as everybody's freaking out, I'm here for it. I voted for him. I don't agree on everything he does. I think he's wrong about TikTok. I think the tariffs are very heavy-handed, even though I like tariffs. I'm interested in saying, well, we're going to play this one out. I'm a strong enough adult to say, I can figure it if I need to. So I tell these lefties, cry about it. In the meantime, Trump should fire them, and it's good that Laura Loomer's digging it up. The media can cry all they want. I don't care. Trump, fire them all. Smash the like button, share the show. Stay tuned. We got more segments coming up, and we'll see you all in a bit.